A very warm welcome to StudyIQ. I am Prashant Pavani. I hope you all are doing good and a very happy new year to all my dear friends. Let's start our discussion as well as our new year with courage, hope and strength. God bless you all. Dear friends, 60% off is available on our pen drive and Android courses. Make the most out of it. 10th November is the last date. Right, if you have any question or queries, feel free and give us a call on the numbers that you can see on your screen, and do visit studyiq.com to find out more about Big Diwali sale. Today we have 4 important articles to go through. The first one is about this USA's temporary waiver from sanctions on Iran. There are total 8 countries in which India is also included, right? 8 countries are going to get a sort of temporary relief or temporary waiver that we can carry on our trade with Iran, but in coming 6 months we have to reduce our dependency on Iran. Now the thing is, the reason why once more these sanctions are applied on Iran is because USA is not at all happy with JCPOA, or that is remember JCPOA, or it is also famously known as Iran nuclear deal. So USA is not happy with it. Mr. Obama was all right with it, but Mr. Trump, the new president, he's not new, but the current president of USA, he is not at all happy with this JCPOA. So there are various different reasons, and of course what USA has been saying is that this JCPOA is not fair. It is tilted heavily towards Iran, and it's going to give Iran it will make Iran nuclear state in a few years of time. So USA is absolutely not in when it comes to JCPOA. But when we go through statements of IAEA, that is International Atomic Energy Agency, if we go through the statements of Russia, China, E3 countries of Europe, that is UK, you have Germany, you have France, right? All these countries, this E3s, this Russia, China, all these countries were part of this JCPOA. In fact, they are part of this JCPOA. And if we go through the statements of these 5 countries, excluding USA, you have these 5 countries here, total 5 plus 1. This 5 countries from United Nations Security Council, permanent members, and Germany was part of this JCPOA with Iran. I have explained these things to you, isn't it? So I don't have to, I think, repeat things here. Those things particularly that we have discussed just a couple of days ago. So if we go through statements of these countries, then we find that IAEA, all these countries, they are absolutely happy with this JCPOA. It's only USA that is not happy with this JCPOA. So this is a matter of concern for us, for every other countries, right, and for Iran as well. We have to sort out things, right? At present, we know that Iran is 3rd largest supplier of oil to India, and you know how oil is important. 80% of our oil is imported by us, so it's very important thing for India. It impacts the ripple effect of oil prices going up or supply coming down has a very bad you can say impact on our country in terms of our, may it be social impact or political impact or economical impact. But we have to prepare ourselves for this thing, because we have completely changed our stand, right? As far as our moral leverage is concerned, as far as our moral stand is concerned, we have to get U-turn. I'm coming to this thing as well, but before that, let's understand this Chabahar very quickly. Here, this is Chabahar port. It's a port of Iran. We have developed this port. We have invested heavily in this port, and it helps us build our bilateral trade with Afghanistan. It also helps Afghanistan for the supplies that is coming from India. It helps India in enhancing our trade with Central Asian countries, international north-south trade corridor. One important you can say point is this Chabahar port. So what we are going to find is that at present we will continue our work in Chabahar, but indirect impact is something that we cannot ignore here, because very few international companies will be ready to invest here after the sanctions on on Iran. Now, but this flexibility indicates two things, right? The first one is that USA might, have a chat with or conversation with or negotiations with Iran. So this could be one of the reasons why this flexibility has been displayed or exercised by USA. The second thing is either all these countries, these 8 countries, on uh, individual capacity, these countries might have pressurized the USA to provide some sort of flexibility. So this could be an outcome of these two things, either one or both. Now, by time, India should also find an alternative. If we are going to follow this sanctions that are applied by unilateral sanctions of USA, then we have to find an alternative. The thing I was talking about, this big U-turn that we took a couple of months ago, our foreign minister said that we, as a country, independent country, India recognizes only United Nations sanctions. We don't follow any particular country's sanctions. But here we can see that we are preparing ourselves for this USA's sanctions on Iran. So we might face some issues with this CAATSA as well. Remember, we just signed a deal with Russia on S-400 missile defense missile system. So it's something that it's our karma, I would say, right? Karma in the sense that if we don't take action now, if we don't display courage at present to take a tall stand against USA, then we are going to face these sort of things. Back in time in 2012, Iran and us, right, we decided that we are going to go ahead with this special payment mechanism where rupee real deal will take place, rupee real mechanism, so that this bilateral trade can be can be done using rupee and real. But this thing has not, it's not a thing that is in motion at present. So again, we can think about this special payment mechanism. But the most important thing is our strategic autonomy and our stand on this sanction. If we are going to follow USA this way, then it will destroy our relationship with Iran. Iran will not consider India as a reliable partner in future. Ember of hope on India-Pakistan relations. This one is a very interesting article, and we can see a ray of hope coming from Pakistan. Our ray of hope from as far as this, if we look at it from this bilateral relationship point of view, then it's a ray of hope for both the nations, of course. Now, Pakistan's willingness to open the Kartarpur corridor, which would connect Dera Baba Nanak in India with a historic Sikh shrine, Darbar Sahib, that is in Kartarpur, Pakistan. So that's a big news. Darbar Sahib is where Guru Nanak Dev, the first Guru of Sikhs, spent the last few years of his life. So on 550th birth anniversary of Guru Nanak Sahib, Indians or pilgrims from India can visit this place, right? This Darbar Sahib. So that's a big news that was being said by Mr. Bajwa, who is Army Chief. He told this thing to Mr. Sidhu, and this was one of the main reasons what Sidhu said, that he got emotional and he hugged Mr. Bajwa, and it was a big controversy at that point of time. Remember when during the swearing-in ceremony of Imran Khan, Mr. Sidhu was present there in Pakistan. On 8th September, Pakistani Information Minister Fawad Chaudhry said that Pakistan will provide visa-free access to Kartarpur Sahib Gurudwara. So that's a big news, and people-to-people contact is one of the most important thing. I have said this thing many times, and this is something that is true forever. That people-to-people contact. If you have good relationship between people of our country or any two countries, then you can take that relationship to wherever you like. Now, most of you will agree with me. Some of you will say that we don't want to develop relationship with Pakistan. But the thing is that if you look at it from Indian Foreign Service point of view, then the most important thing that we have to keep in our mind is India's national interest. And long-term national interest is peace and tranquility in this whole region, the SAARC region. at present, because of India and Pakistan and arch rivalship that we have between both of us. Because of this thing, we find that SARC is not doing very well. Poverty, and there are so many other challenges. Terrorism is here, right? Is spending too much on defense, and all these things is because of not that good relationship between these two countries. We can learn so many things from India and China's relationship. We had this Doklam situation last year, but then as well, bilateral trade was going up and up. So this is something that, this sort of gestures coming from Pakistan, we should respond positively. And I must add here that 50% distance should be covered by Pakistan and 50% by India. Only then we will meet somewhere here. We have to leave big issues on one side, and we can focus on the small gestures and small opportunities that can mend ties between both our nations. So that's again everything about it. Now moving on to another item that is about India and USA. Remember Indo-Pacific region. We have talked about Indo-Pacific region many times on this platform. Now USA, in last 10 years, in one decade, USA has sold us some 15 billion worth of arms or defense systems, right? Now recently we signed this S-400 missile system agreement with Russia, and this can create some problems for us if we keep on following orders of coming from USA. Now Washington looks at Russia as one of its biggest security threat. Indo-Pacific region, we have talked about it. Let me provide you a quick picture of Indo-Pacific. So technically Indo-Pacific is this whole region here, right? And Asia Pacific is this portion here. So earlier on, Asia Pacific was given too much of importance. Nowadays Indo-Pacific is a trending topic. Now the thing is, here in our country, India, we believe, and there are a few people who believe that Indo-Pacific means that USA has made India the central point of Indo-Pacific. But the question is it really the case? The thing is, in 2017, in Vietnam, during this Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation APEC Summit, Mr. Trump said Vietnam is at the heart of Indo-Pacific. If you go through National Security Strategy of 2017, released by USA, then ASEAN and APEC region is one of the most important thing or region for this Indo-Pacific. When it comes to Indo-Pacific, the most important players are here. If you go through 2017's NSS again, we find that it is not paying any attention at all, or not giving that much importance to Arabian Ocean as well, or Arabian Sea portion, and Bay of Bengal portion. Both these areas are most important for India's interest. What USA wants is, USA wants to control this China's assertiveness in this portion here, because Indian Ocean from here, if you want to enter Pacific, then you have to go through this portion here. So USA's main concern is China, and if we go through all these statements, then we can clearly say that we cannot rely on USA when it comes to Indo-Pacific, right? In fact, we are still a bit unclear when it comes to Indo-Pacific region. Now if we compare our relationship with China's relationship with other countries, then we find that India and ASEAN's trade in 2016 was 71.6 billion. That of China and ASEAN was 452. Same thing goes for Japan, same thing goes for Australia, same thing goes for USA as well, in fact. So we should be very careful, right? When it comes to Indo-Pacific, we should be absolutely clear as well, because for us, our top priority should be Indian Ocean, because 90% of India's trade passes through Indian Ocean, right? So Indian Ocean should be our top priority. For USA, Pacific could be a top priority, but for us, Pacific will not be first, it will be second or third. So that's the most important thing. When it comes to USA, what USA is seeking from its partner is that without spending that much money from its own pocket, USA wants its partners to do everything that is possible to control China. And India's capacity is not that much, 20 submarines, that's what we have got. China has got 78. We have got less number of aircraft carriers compared to China. So all these things are creating this skepticism in the mind of USA that India is not that much capable, and that's the reason why it is not paying that much importance as well to us when it comes to Indo-Pacific region. So it's all about loud talks rather than practical actions. We have signed this S400, so in near future we will come to know what exactly or how much important we are as a country to USA. Protecting against polio, very easy to understand one, but very important topic, and I think in future, this can become a big topic for all of us as far as your exams are concerned. As when I say all of us, I'm talking about as a country, because 1998, right? I beg your pardon, 1988. In 1988, 99.9% of wild poliovirus was eradicated, right? 1988, 99.9% of wild poliovirus was eradicated. Now, what we find in 2017-18, that wild type virus, this wild poliovirus has caused, we got some 22 cases in 2017 and 25 cases in 2018 from two countries, Pakistan and Afghanistan. But if we go through another type of poliovirus that is called that happens because of this vaccine derived polio. It's basically quite paradoxical that whilst you're taking this, once you give this 2 drops of life to our small kids, babies, this oral vaccine, right? Oral polio vaccine, OPV. OPV contains some live weakened virus, and once it is given to a child, this child's own immune system will develop a resistance against this virus, and this is how it is protected. A child is protected. So this case of vaccine derived poliovirus is a matter of concern because it is taking place because of this oral polio vaccine. And the thing is, if we go through higher or high income countries, what they use this inactivated polio vaccine, whilst in low income country, and India is part of this low income country, we are using this oral polio vaccine. World Health Organization asked all countries using OPV to include continuous and effective system of surveillance to monitor the frequency of VAPP and to make sure that we are heading towards or switching over to this IPV, that is inactivated polio vaccine, rather than oral polio vaccine. But in our country, production of this IPV was not started that much. Even France provided us technology transfer to produce this vaccine. We sticked with this OPV because it was cheaper and it was much easier, but we have ignored this possibility of this vaccine derived poliovirus, and we are not calculating it at present. So we don't know how bad it is, right? So it's a matter of concern. We are polio free, but there are a few news items. They indicate that this VDPV is back again in our country and in many other parts of the world. Now, moving on to news items, latest news items. I have got 4 for you guys. China ropes in India as digital economy partner. China wants to inject this cyber connection in Eurasian portion, and for that India can play a very important role, has been said by China. Prime Minister celebrated his Deepavali in icy heights. He was there with army and ITBP Jawans. He was captured sharing sweets with army Jawans and ITBP Jawans. He talked about strengthening defense sector. He talked about India's contribution as far as this United Nations peacekeeping forces are concerned. Air pollution in Delhi is at a very bad level. This order of Supreme Court has not been followed by so many people. Some 1,000 plus cases has also been registered in Delhi. And ASEAN member countries of RCEP offer India concessions. Several Asian members countries of the proposed regional comprehensive economic partnership RCEP have offered India significant concession on this extent to which it needs to open up its market. Earlier on, they were asking us like 92% of our market should be open to them, but now they have reduced it to some 9%. So now we can open 83% of market. When it comes to RCEP, India is seeking for more for access of visa and work visa. For the people of our professionals of our country, they can visit Australia, China, Japan, and Korea, and New Zealand. When it comes to RECAP, what these countries are asking is they want us to open our market, our goods and products market for them. So here you find this is the main bone of contention when it comes to RECAP, and this is one of the reasons. Like India is a bit skeptical about joining this free trade group, because if we means we are part of it, but still negotiations are going on. So once it becomes free trade, once this free trade operations are once they are going on, or once they start, what will happen is we will find a tsunami of Chinese products in our country. So this is the main problem that India is highlighting here. That's everything in today's discussion, dear friends. Enjoy your new year. God bless you all. Jai Hind.